Hey guys, what is up? This is Matthew Days Me once again. Welcome back to another video game review. This time it's going to be on Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door for Nintendo Switch. Nintendo has finally answered our wishes and finally giving us Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door for a modern console. Because it was a very popular game in 2004, but because the GameCube didn't sell well, that obviously meant poor sales. But it gained a massive cult following over the years and has been declared the best game in the Paper Mario franchise, and for really, really good reason. Now, I never got to experience this game before, so I mean, I could have. The only problem is I had to spend a massive amount of money. So I could have either done that, emulated the game, or hoped that there would be a remaster for Nintendo Switch. And many people didn't have hope because Nintendo abandoned the game's RPG roots after A Thousand Year Door, and the franchise ever since then has just gone downhill from there. Still enjoyable experiences, but not as enjoyable. But luckily, they decided to bring Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door back. Now, of course, if you never played this game before, like me, then the game has a very simple story, and of course, the princess has been captured, but a lot more is happening as there is an evil presence behind the great door known as the Thousand Year Door, and Mario has to get 7 of these star crystals throughout his journey through 7 different chapters, and of course an 8th chapter where he has to go out and defeat the bad guy. But he's not doing this alone. Luigi might not be around, but he gets help from various partners that are very familiar to some of the enemies that Mario has defeated throughout his life as the side-scrolling platforming plumber that we all know and love. Instead, these types of enemies are actually your allies and will help you throughout your journey as they become your friends. Like there's Goombella, the female Goomba, who is an archaeologist. There's Koops, and there's also Vivian, the transgender female who was, I don't know, it's kind of complicated, but she's by far the most interesting character. There's Flurry, this big ghost-like creature. There's many more. You even have a little Yoshi with you who you can name and change different colors. And the list just goes on. The game, I'm just so happy that Nintendo finally gave us this game because it's a game I've always wanted to play. Now, my first Paper Mario game was the Origami King, which wasn't the best game to start off with, as I did play some of the original N64 game on the Nintendo Switch N64 emulator, and that game was a lot of fun too. But in terms of, which game has aged better, I would say this one certainly has, and not just because of its graphics, but if you haven't experienced this game like me before for the very first time, then Nintendo really went all out in making it as great of a game as possible as it was back then. Many people fear that if they were to remaster the game, they would just take away those elements that made the game great in favor of what they've been doing with the franchise going forward, but they didn't do that. Everything that was in the original game was kept in here, but of course enhancing on it, not just with its graphics, but even its gameplay. Other than the story, there's also other parts to the game in terms of storyline. Like there are these side missions you can do called Troubles, which you can do after doing specific chapters. If you were playing on the GameCube, you would have to do a lot of backtracking, and while there is quite a bit of backtracking in this, it's not as painful, as there is a fast travel system, as you're mostly going to be traveling under the sewers to get to different worlds, as there is this area where each time you beat a chapter, it unlocks a pipe that goes to that world that you previously went to, so you can do certain side missions and collect all these star pieces that were in the first game, so you can get badges that will power you up in getting you specific abilities and whatnot. Oh yeah, that's probably something I should also mention, how this game works. It's a turn-based RPG. It's basically a successor to Mario RPG, which also has an incredible remake for a Switch that I definitely recommend as well. The turn-based combat system is very unique. Basically, Mario has jump features, and if you push the button at the exact right time, then it'll pull off a more powerful move. He has jump moves, hammer moves, and the partners have also very unique move sets as well. When you level up, you can either gain your health, your flower power, which is your power points, which you're going to need to use often, and your badge points, so you can equip more badges as you go on throughout your journey. And there's like 87 badges in total. Like, there's quite a bit of badges for you to collect, and they're not going to be super easy to collect, and you're going to want to collect all of them if you want to fully 100% the game, because as far as I know, there is a reward for beating the game 100%. But after finishing the game, at least the story, I want to go back and play the additional stuff, because there is more content or some more side missions you can do after beating the game. And you can 100% each world, like you can get shine sprites that are similar like in Super Mario Sunshine, and you can use those shine sprites to power up your allies, and yeah. Now, in terms of the changes that they made, I'm not really going to notice them that much since I never played the original version, though I have seen clips of the original version. One thing is that the original version never had voices. When the text boxes come up, they just go like, nah, 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 and they just make one sound. But now, each character has their own voice, and it fits their characters perfectly. And they never annoyed me. Like, the characters, the dialogue in this game is so good. Like, it's very humorous. Like, each character, like, I just had so much fun with the lines of dialogue that are spoken, because it makes the game's charm just absolutely spot on. Like, sometimes you can talk to Luigi and he'll have a story for you, but the story goes on and on that Mario just tends to fall asleep, and it's hilarious. Like, yeah. Also, if you get stuck during a mission, you can always push a certain button, and Goombella or other characters that partner up with you will give you hints on what exactly you're supposed to do. And the partners and the characters, they're not just great in terms of movesets, but backstories as well, and the stories that they have to offer throughout the game. They're very unique, and it had me really caring for them. And it made me sad when, the game ended and they're characters that we're probably never going to see in another game. And I would honestly love to see, like, new characters in general throughout the series is something that we desperately need. And the fact that Nintendo actually listened to people and bringing this game back and keeping what made that original game great, because the game is getting so much praise, just as much praise as the original game, it should be a sign that this should let Nintendo know that this is the Paper Mario that most fans wanted in terms of, the franchise going forward. Like, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the Origami King, but I think the game would have been amazing if it had those RPG mechanics and partners. I mean, they're sort of partners in the game, but not too many and not too memorable either. They don't really have that many unique personalities behind them, but yeah, with this game, this should be a sign that this is what we want in terms of a new Paper Mario game. And in terms of the graphics too, it has a mixture of both the old school graphics and the Origami King's graphics. You can definitely notice it a little bit. And sure, the game may only run at 30 FPS, but oftentimes I never really noticed it that much, and it never really bothered me, despite the fact that it does occasionally dip from time to time, not too badly. Also, there is one partner that you can get that's optional, but you have to do a side quest in order to get that partner. I don't really see myself using her that much. In fact, I don't think I really use her at all, because I have been told that she's the weakest partner out of all of them, and she's only good for like helping you find specific hidden items throughout the game through various different worlds. So yeah, I never really found her all that useful, other than having to help me find specific things. But despite the minor gripes that I do have, I honestly didn't find myself complaining that much. And in terms of its difficulty, sometimes it's more aimed towards telling the story rather than just focusing on difficult gameplay. I mean, there are challenges to the game. There are optional bosses that are definitely going to pound you down if you're not powering up, and there are specific badges that will definitely be useful when taking on tougher bosses. And the bosses, they are super unique too. I had so much fun with the bosses, and in terms of the music, they fit the bosses and the world super well. And of course, the music did change a bit. If you'll notice it if you played the original version. But as for someone who hasn't played the original version, I don't know a whole lot. There are changes to the game that I'm not really going to notice all that much, because not having played the original game but knowing about it, it's something that I'm pretty much not talking a whole lot about. So it's best to I'm just talking about this as a game, not like what changes they've made to the game, because this is my first experience with the game, and I can tell you, I am so happy that I finally got to play, because this game is truly a blast from beginning to end. I love the characters, I love the world, I love the story, I love the characters. It had so much content. I spent nearly 40 hours on this game, and sure, a lot of that time I spent backtracking a little bit and getting frustrated a little bit with some of the bosses, especially the final one. And I'm still not fully done with the game, but I want to go back, as there are different challenges that the game has, and there are rewards that will definitely be worth it. I had so much fun with this game, and it was a blast from beginning to end. This should be a sign for Nintendo that this is the Paper Mario we want to see more of. The fact that we got this now, hopefully it'll be signed for more Paper Mario games to have more features like this. The same stuff that was in the Thousand Year Door and the first game, and just bringing it all back in here in this incredible remake, it was more than worth it. I am so happy I finally got to play this, and I am very sad that I had to finish the story, because the game has so much charm when it comes to the characters that I just did not want to let them go when the game was over. But to me, the game will never be over as long as I haven't finished it, and I kind of don't want to finish it because I don't want to, end the story. But it's a story that will live with me for a very long time. It is way less than paper thin, and a lot more like a big, thick clay sculpture of gold. I'm not going to let these nitpicks stop me from giving this game what it truly deserves. I'm serious, despite those gripes, I think this is a masterpiece. I truly don't really have any major issues, just minor tiny annoyances, but that doesn't mean it can't still get a perfect score. It doesn't always mean it's going to be a perfect game. I should really change that perfection thing, because no game is perfect, even with a game as good as this. Definitely play it. You won't be disappointed. If you love the original, then this is the true way to play the Thousand Year Door. It is great to see this game back, and I'm so glad I finally got to play it for the first time. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Ward out.